The gun felt cold on Jade's back, but her skin felt hot all over. Yunho's breath tickled her neck as he pushed her harder against the wooden wall in his office, his free hand next to her head. "You left the fancy apartment," he said, his voice low and scary, "after I told you straight up not to." Jade turned her head a bit, her dark curly hair falling over her shoulder as she looked back at him with brave eyes. Her heart pounded hard in her chest, but she wouldn't let him see she was scared. Instead, she reached up slow and on purpose, and grabbed his wrist, the one with the gun. She pulled his hand closer, watching his jaw get tight as she moved his thumb to her lips. The gun dropped a little, as confusion showed on his sharp face. Then she did it. Her tongue licked the tip of his thumb, slow and careful, her eyes stuck on his. Young-ho's eyes got big, his breath stopped for a second. "What the heck are you doing?" "Picking for you, hubby." Her voice was sweet and mean, all mixed. "Since you can't pick if you want to kill me or have me." The gun fell to the floor with a noise. His hand went to her neck, not squeezing, just holding, owning, and warning at the same time. "I hate you." He breathed near her mouth. "Liar." She smiled near his lips. "You hate that you want me." He kissed her then, rough, mean, wrecking. It tasted like anger and want, like 3 months of saying no, finally ending. When he stopped, they were both breathing fast. "This changes nothing," he said. "We'll see about that." 3 months earlier, everything had been different. "You're getting married," her dad said right away, not even looking up from the papers on his desk. "To Yunho. The wedding is in 2 days." Jade's coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. "I'm sorry. What? The SEO family. The team-up will save us from the money we owe. It's all set." "You sold me." The words came out plain, no feeling, because if she let any feeling in, she'd break right there. Her dad finally looked at her eyes, and what she saw there was worse than feeling bad. It was giving up. "I'm saving our family. Yunho is the next boss of the biggest bad guy group in South Korea. This is business. I'm your daughter, not a business deal. In our world, you're both." 2 days later, Jade stood in a white dress she'd hardly had time to pick in front of a man she'd met once for exactly 15 minutes. Yunho was super handsome in a way that felt risky. Sharp cheeks, deep dark eyes that seemed to figure out everything, and a mouth that looked like it forgot how to smile. When he put the ring on her finger, his touch was cold. "Smile," he whispered as cameras flashed. "This is a show. So, is this marriage?" She whispered back. Something flashed in his eyes, anger or curiosity. She couldn't tell. "We understand each other then. Good. Don't make this more messy than it has to be." "Messy is all I know how to be." His jaw got tight. "Then we're going to have problems." "Looking forward to it, hubby." The party after was a mix of faces she didn't know, good wishes from people who didn't care, and Yunho's hand on her waist that felt like a mark. When they finally left, riding quiet to his fancy apartment in the middle of Seoul, Jade looked out the window and wondered if she'd ever feel free again. The fancy apartment was crazy fancy. Windows from floor to ceiling looking over the city, simple furniture that probably cost more than most people's houses, and a cold feel that matched its owner just right. "Your room is on the 2nd floor, 3rd door on the left," Yunho said, already going toward his office. "I'll have someone bring your stuff." "My room." Jade turned to face him. "We're married." He stopped, his back to her. "In name only. In public, you're my wife. In private, you're a stranger. I'm supposed to house you by contract. Don't mix the two." "How romantic." "Romance has nothing to do with this." He looked back, his face like stone. "There are rules. You don't leave the fancy apartment without my guards. You don't talk to news people without okay. You go to events when needed and act like the loving wife. In return, you get safety, fancy stuff, and a big allowance. Except freedom. Freedom is too much when you're alive to whine about losing it." He went into his office, the door closing with a firm click. Jade stood alone in the huge living room, anger growing in her chest. She'd been married for 6 hours and already felt like she'd been locked up for life. The first week, she tested limits carefully. She played music loud enough to shake the windows, jazz, hip-hop, anything with beat. She mixed up books in his neat office, putting types together with fun mess. She wore her comfiest clothes around the fancy apartment, big shirts, tiny shorts, silk robes that barely covered. Yunho said nothing. He'd show up at breakfast dressed perfect in his suits, look at his phone while drinking strong coffee, and leave without a word. Sometimes he didn't come home until after midnight. When they met, he'd look at her like she was an annoying chair he couldn't decide what to do with. But Jade saw things, the way his jaw would tighten when she walked by in her robe, how his eyes would follow her across a room before he'd make himself look back at his tablet, the small break in his tough side when she laughed on the phone with her best friend. His head would tilt a bit like the sound bugged him. He didn't want her there, that much was clear, but he also couldn't quite ignore her. Perfect. By the second week, Jade switched plans totally. She woke early before Youngho left for his meetings and took the living room as her own yoga spot. The big windows made the perfect background as she did her moves, wearing tight yoga pants and a sports bra that showed a lot. The first morning, Yunho came down the stairs, coffee in hand, and stopped halfway. Jade was in down dog pose, her body like an upside-down V, back curved, every shape showing. She held the pose, breathing deep, acting like she didn't see him standing there like a statue. Slow, on purpose, she changed to cobra, curving her back, chest up, head back. She could feel his eyes on her like a touch, hopped through the air between them. Good morning, she said sweet, changing to child pose before standing up. She grabbed her water bottle, taking a long drink, knowing she was a bit sweaty and breathing fast. Sleep well. Yunho's fingers were white around his coffee cup. What are you doing? Yoga. I do it every morning. Keeps me bent. She smiled innocent, stretching her arms up. The move made her sports bra go up a bit. You should try it sometime. You seem very stiff. His jaw moved. The living room is for everyone. I know. That's why I'm using it. She walked past him to the kitchen, letting her hand touch his arm. She felt him jump. Feel free to watch. I don't mind people looking. She heard his sharp breath in, but didn't turn. She could feel the anger coming off him, and something else, something hotter. The next morning, she wore even less, just a sports bra and shorts that hardly counted as clothes. She took her time, doing each pose with extra slow, curving deeper, stretching longer, breathing harder. She knew just what view she gave from his spot on the stairs. Youngho didn't come down, but she could feel him watching from the top, hidden in dark. The feel of his look made her skin tingle, made her nipples tight under the thin bra. On the third morning, she added music, something slow and sexy with a deep beat. She moved like water, her body going from one pose to the next. Warrior pose, tree pose, bridge pose, with her hips up toward the ceiling. When she finished, out of breath and shining from sweat, she turned to find Yunho in the kitchen, his coffee forgotten on the counter, his eyes dark with something hardly held back. Enjoy the show? She asked, grabbing a towel and running it slow down her neck between her breasts. You're playing a risky game, am I? She moved closer, close enough to smell his cologne, something dark and pricey. I'm just doing my morning thing. If you find it distracting, maybe you should leave earlier. This is my home. Ours, she fixed, meeting his eyes bold. You married me, remember? Made me your wife, gave me your name. This is my home, too. And I'll do yoga wherever I want. His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to make her heart race. You're trying to make me mad. Is it working? She let her eyes go to his mouth, that mean, perfect mouth, then back up, because from where I'm standing, you seem pretty mad. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her or choke her. The line between the two seemed super thin, but then he let go quick, stepping back like she'd burned him. Get dressed. We have a dinner tonight with some business guys. Yes, hubby. She said the words like a cat purr, watching his jaw get so tight she thought his teeth might break. I'll wear something special. She did. That evening, she came down the stairs in a red dress that should have been against the rules. It stuck to every curve before opening a bit at her thighs. The neck went down so deep it was like a challenge, and the back was almost all open, showing the smooth brown skin of her back all the way to the curve of her lower back. Her dark curls were up high, showing her nice neck. She'd put dark liner on her eyes, making them stand out more, and painted her lips the same deep red as the dress. Yunho was on his phone when she showed up, his back to the stairs. She cleared her throat soft. He turned and the phone fell to the floor. His eyes got big, going from her face down her body and back up again, slow and careful, like he was remembering every bit. She watched his throat move as he swallowed hard, watched his hands make fists at his sides. Too much? She asked, innocent, doing a slow spin. The move made the dress's split show almost her whole thigh. No. The word came out choked. He cleared his throat. You look okay. Just okay. She came down the last few steps, her heels clicking on stone. The sound seemed super loud in the quiet between them. I can change if you'd like. Don't. He stopped himself, his face closing. You look fine. Good. Let's go. But as she walked past him to the door, she heard him say a bad word in Korean. She smiled. The dinner was hard for Yunho at least. Jade had fun every minute. She sat next to him at the restaurant, close enough that her bare arm touched his suit jacket. Every time she moved, reaching for her wine glass, leaning forward to say something, laughing at what one of his guys said. She made sure he saw, and he saw everything. She could feel the stress coming from him, could see the muscle moving in his jaw, the way his hand got tight on his wine glass every time another man's eyes stayed on her. When she leaned forward to ask one of the guys a question, giving everyone at the table a good view of her chest, Yunho's hand went on her thigh under the table. Hard, owning, warning. She turned to him with big, innocent eyes. Yes, dear. His eyes promised payback, but his voice was totally calm when he spoke. Nothing. I just wanted to make sure you were having fun. Oh, I am. She put her hand over his, her fingers drawing shapes on his knuckles. Very much. His hand moved on her thigh, and for a second she thought he might pull her out of the restaurant. Instead, he smiled, cold and scary, and turned back to his business guys. But his hand stayed on her thigh the whole meal. Hot, owning. A mark she felt long after he finally took it off. On the way home, the quiet in the car was like a bomb. You did that on purpose, Yunho said finally, his voice super quiet. Did what? Everything. The dress, the laughing, leaning over like he stopped, jaw moving. Like what? She turned in her seat to face him, letting the dresses split open to show almost her whole leg. I was just being nice, acting the loving wife, like you said. You were being flirty with your business guys. She made her eyes big. Yunho, I would never. I was just talking polite. His hands held the wheel so tight his knuckles went white. You're testing me. Maybe you need testing. She let her hand go to his thigh, felt him get stiff under her touch. You lock me in that fancy apartment like a prisoner. You ignore me. You act like I'm some annoying duty you can't wait to get rid of. But I know the truth. And what's that? You want me. She let her hand go higher, watching his jaw get tight. You want me so bad it's killing you. And you hate yourself for it. Take your hand off. Why? She leaned closer, her lips touching his ear. Afraid you might lose control. Afraid you might have to admit you feel something. The car turned to the side of the road so fast her seatbelt locked. They stopped on an empty spot looking out. The city lights spread below them like thrown diamonds. Yunho turned to her and the look on his face took her breath. Raw, hungry, barely held back. You want to know what I feel? His voice was rough, scary. I feel mad. I feel tricked. I feel like every moment of every day, you're trying to break me, trying to make me into something I'm not. And what's that? Someone who cares. He laughed, but no fun in it. Someone who could actually want this marriage, want you. The words should have hurt. Instead, Jade smiled. Liar. Excuse me. You're lying. She unbuckled her seatbelt, moving closer. If you didn't care, you wouldn't have noticed what I was wearing. You wouldn't have put your hand on my thigh when those men looked at me. You wouldn't be holding the wheel so hard right now, trying not to touch me. You're crazy. Prove it. She tilted her head, challenge clear in her eyes. Kiss me like you hate me. Show me how much you don't care. Jade, do it. Unless you're afraid. That was all it took. He jumped across the middle, his hand in her hair as he pulled her into a kiss that was pure mad and hunger. It was rough, mean, teeth and tongue, and barely held back fight. His other hand grabbed her hip hard enough to bruise, pulling her as close as the car let. Jade gasped into his mouth and he took the sound, making the kiss deeper until she couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but feel. When he finally stopped, they were both breathing fast. His eyes were wild, his neat hair messed from her fingers. "I hate you," he said, voice broken. "No, you don't." She traced his puffy lips with her thumb. "But you wish you did." He let her go quick, running his hands through his hair. "This can't happen." "Why not?" "Because I don't want a wife. I don't want a relationship. I don't want." He stopped, jaw tight. "You don't want to want me," she finished. "But you do, and it scares you. You know nothing about what scares me." "Then tell me." She reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "Talk to me like I'm a person instead of a duty." "You are a duty. That's all this is. A contract, a business deal." "Then why did you kiss me like that?" He had no answer. After a moment, he started the car and got back on the road. The rest of the drive home was quiet, thick with stress and unsaid words. Inside the fancy apartment, Jade didn't go to her room. She followed Yunho to his office, leaning on the doorframe as he poured himself a lot of whiskey. "Go to bed, Jade." "No, I'm not in the mood for your games. This isn't a game." She moved into the room, closing the door behind her. "I'm trying to understand you." "There's nothing to understand." He drank the whiskey in one go. "I'm a man who was forced into a marriage I didn't want with a woman who makes me crazy. The feeling is the same." She crossed her arms. "But we're stuck with each other. We can either be sad or we can figure out how to make this work. It's working fine." "You call this working?" She pointed between them. "We barely talk. We live in the same place but might as well be strangers. This is working for you. Better than the other way, which is," he slammed the glass on his desk, "which is me touching you, which is me losing control, which is me wanting you so bad I can't think straight." He moved toward her, like a hunter, "which is me making you mine in every way and wrecking us both." Jade's heart raced, but she stood firm. "Maybe I want to be wrecked." "You don't know what you're saying." "I know exactly what I'm saying." She moved closer until they were inches apart. "I want to feel something real. Even if it's hate. Even if it burns us both." He stared at her, breathing hard, every muscle in his body tight. Then he stepped back, shaking his head. "Get out of my office. Go to your room and stop trying to tempt me." "Why is it working, Jade?" "Fine." She headed for the door, then stopped. "But for the record, I'm not trying to tempt you. If I was, you'd know it. What I'm doing is reminding you that I exist, that I'm here, that I'm your wife, whether you like it or not." She looked back at him. "And sooner or later, you're going to have to decide what that means." She left him standing in his office, staring after her with a look she couldn't read. The next day, Jade stepped it up. She woke early and did yoga in a set that was more like sexy underwear than workout clothes. See-through parts and cutouts that showed almost everything. She took her time with each pose, knowing Yunho was watching from the top. After her shower, which she took with the bathroom door open, steam coming out into the hall, she got dressed in the tightest jeans she had and a short top that showed the smooth brown skin of her belly. Yunho was in the kitchen when she came down. His eyes went over her outfit, jaw getting tight. "Going somewhere, shopping." She grabbed an apple from the bowl. "That allowance you mentioned, I plan to use it." "You have guards," I figured. She bit into the apple. "Your guys are about as sneaky as big elephants." His eyes got narrow. "What guys?" "The ones who follow me everywhere." "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" She smiled sweet. "There's been a black car outside every time I've left the fancy apartment. 2 guys in suits who act like they shop in the same stores I visit." "Really, Yunho, if you're going to have me followed, at least hire people with some skill." He said nothing, but she could see the thinking in his eyes. "It's fine," she went on. "I understand. Can't have the wife walking around without watch. Someone might think you actually care what happens to me." It's for your safety, right? Safety. She threw the apple core in the trash. Well, your watchdogs can follow me to the shops. I'm sure they'll love watching me try on dresses. She left before he could answer, grabbing her purse and going to the elevator. But she could feel his eyes on her back, hot. The shop was just the kind of place she'd always dreamed of shopping, all soft lights and bubbly drinks and helpers who treated her like a queen. The guard team waited outside, trying to look normal and not doing good. Jade tried on everything, dresses from fancy to wild. She bought them all, or put them on Yunho's card. If she was going to be stuck in this marriage, she might as well enjoy the good parts. The last dress was the best, a black one that was hardly there. All cutouts and risky splits held by thin chains that hung across her bare skin. She wore it, out of the store, her other buys sent to the fancy apartment. The guard team's eyes got big, but they said nothing. Pros to the end. Back at the fancy apartment, she found Yunho in his office like usual. She didn't knock, just walked in and posed. What do you think? He looked up and his pen fell to his desk. His eyes got dark, going over every bare bit of her, which was a lot. The dress left her shoulders open, her back almost all bare, and had a neck that went down to her belly button. What the heck are you wearing? A dress. You like it? It's new. She did a slow spin. Cost a ton. But I figured you could pay. Go change. No, Jade. I'm not in the mood for this. Go change into something right. This is right for going out. You're not going anywhere. Dressed like that. Actually, I am. She checked her phone. Some friends from school are meeting at a bar downtown. I thought I'd join them. No. She raised an eyebrow. You don't get to tell me what to do, hubby. I'm going like heck you are. He stood, moving around his desk. That dress is like a call. A call to what? Have fun. Feel like a person. Actually enjoy my life, instead of being locked in this glass jail. A call for every guy in that bar to put his hands on you. And what would you care? She tilted her head. You've made it clear you don't want me. So why does it matter who else does? His jaw got tight. Go change now. Make me. The words stayed between them, a challenge and a dare. Yunho moved toward her slow, like a hunter, until he was close enough that she had to look up to see his eyes. You want me to make you? His voice was scary soft. If you want me out of this dress so bad, take it off yourself. She saw the exact second his control broke. His hands went to the thin chains at her shoulders, fingers touching her skin. But then he stopped, breathing hard, and stepped back. Change, please. That surprised her. It was the first time he'd ever said it. Fine. She headed for the door. But I'm still going to the bar, like heck, and something else, she finished. Something less showing. She left him standing in his office looking like he'd just got through a fight. 30 minutes later, she came back down in jeans and a simple black top. Still sexy, still fitted, but way less wild than the dress. Better? She asked. Yunho looked her over, jaw still tight. A bit good enough. She grabbed her purse. Don't wait up, Jade. I'll have my phone. I'll have your guard team following me. I'll be fine. She softened a bit. I just need a few hours to feel normal. He said nothing, but she could see the fight in his eyes. Finally, he nodded once, sharp and not happy. Thank you, she said quiet and left. The bar was packed, loud, just what she needed. Her friends were already there, Mina and Chen, both from her school days, and they greeted her with hugs and excited talk. Look at you. Married life is treating you well, Mina said, looking at Jade's outfit. Still got that glow. More like I'm losing my mind slowly, Jade muttered, but she smiled. They took a booth and ordered drinks. Jade stuck to wine at first, but as the night went on and the talk flowed, she switched to something stronger. The guard team was there. She could see them by the door, trying to fit in and not, but she ignored them. She was on her third drink, laughing at something Chen said when a guy came to their booth. Ladies, he said, smiling in a way that was probably meant to be nice. Can I buy you a round? We're good. Thanks, Mina said polite, but the guy's attention was on Jade. What about you? Beautiful. Come on, let me buy you a drink. I have a drink. Jade held up her glass. Then let me buy you the next one. He slid into the booth next to her, too close, his leg pressing against hers. I'm Marcus. I'm married. She moved away, but the booth was curved and there was no place. I don't see a husband. His hand went on her thigh, squeezing. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Take your hand off. Jade's voice went cold. Come on, don't be like that, she said. Take your hand off. The voice came from behind Marcus, low and deadly. Jade's eyes got big. Yunho stood there in all his dark, scary glory, looking like death walking. His eyes were fixed on where Marcus's hand touched Jade's thigh, and the look on his face would have made big men cry. Marcus turned, annoyed. Who the heck are you? Her husband. Yunho's hand shot out, grabbing Marcus's wrist. The one who's about to break your fingers if you don't take them off my wife right now. Marcus got pale, finally seeing danger. He yanked his hand back, scrambling out of the booth. Sorry man, I didn't know. You do now. Yunho's voice was cold. Leave while you still can. Marcus basically ran. Yunho slid into the booth where Marcus had been, his leg pressing against Jade's. She could feel the stress coming from him, could smell his cologne, mixed with something darker. Mad barely held back. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice not steady, making sure my wife doesn't get touched in a public bar. I had it handled. You were drunk and stuck. You didn't have anything handled. His eyes met hers, hot. We're leaving. I'm not done. Yes, you are. He stood, his hand around her wrist, not hurting, but no way to move. Say goodbye to your friends. Jade looked at Mina and Chen, who were staring big-eyed at Yun. She sighed. I'll call you guys tomorrow. Yunho didn't drag her, but he didn't let go either. His hands stayed locked around her wrist as he led her through the crowd and out to where his car was waiting. Not the one with the driver, his own car, the smooth black one he drove himself when he was mad. He opened the passenger door, waiting until she got in, then closed it with held-back force. The guard team was gone, probably sent away when Yunho came. Inside the car, quiet stretched between them like a real thing. Jade could see the muscle moving in his jaw, could see his hands holding the wheel with white finger force. How did you even know? She asked finally. I always know. He didn't look at her. You think I let you walk around this city without knowing exactly where you are every second? You think I trust anyone else to keep you safe? The guard team tells me. Every hour they say where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. His eyes cut to her. You're mine to protect, Jade. Whether you like it or not, I'm not your thing. No, you're my wife, which is worse. He laughed, hard and bitter. At least a thing I could lock away and ignore. But you're under my skin, in my head, driving me crazy with your yoga and your dresses and your stubborn no to just stay safe and out of sight. I won't be invisible. I know. He said it like a bad word. You couldn't be invisible if you tried. You walk into a room, and every eye goes to you. Guys look at you like you're something they can have, something they can touch. And it takes everything in me not to put bullets in their heads. Jade's breath stopped. Yunho, I hate you, he said quiet. And this time it sounded almost like admitting, I hate that I can't stop thinking about you. I hate that I notice everything, what you wear, how you smell, the way you laugh when you think no one's listening. I hate that when that guy put his hands on you, I wanted to kill him, really kill him. No care about what happens. He pulled the car over, another lookout, their spot now, it seems, and turned to face her. I hate that you're right. I want you, God, help me. I want you so much. It's wrecking me. Jade's heart pounded, then stopped fighting it. I can't. His hand held her face, thumb tracing her cheek. Because if I give in, if I let myself have you, you become my weakness. And in my world, weaknesses get killed. I'm already your wife. I'm already a target. But if I love you, if I really let myself feel something, it becomes real. They'll know. They'll use you against me. They'll hurt you to hurt me. Let them try. She covered his hand with hers. I'm stronger than you think. I know you are. He leaned his forehead against hers. But I'm not. Not when it comes to you. She kissed him then, soft and slow, putting 3 months of mad and wanting into it. He groaned against her mouth, his control breaking, his hand in her hair as he pulled her closer. When they finally stopped, both breathing fast, Jade traced his jaw with her fingers. Take me home, she whispered. Not to separate rooms. Not the opposite ends of the fancy apartment. Take me home, and stop acting like you don't want me there. He stared at her for a long moment, something like giving up in his eyes. Then he started the car. The drive back was full of stress. Yunho's hand found her thigh, owning and hot through her jeans. Neither talked, but the air between them sparked with everything not said. Inside the fancy apartment, they made it as far as the living room before Yunho's control broke all the way. He pushed her against the wall, his mouth taking hers with hard force. His hands were everywhere, her hair, her waist, her hips, pulling her closer as if he could make her part of him. Last chance, he growled against her mouth. Tell me to stop. Never. She bit his lower lip. I want this. I want you. You'll regret it. I already regret waiting this long. He lifted her easy, her legs around his waist as he carried her toward his bedroom. Their bedroom now. The door slammed shut behind them. And then there was only feeling, his hands learning every curve of her body, her nails scratching down his back, clothes gone like they were bad, his mouth on her skin, marking her, taking her, her gasps and his growls filling the air between them. When they finally came together, it was huge. 3 months of stress, of fighting, of saying no, all blowing up between them. They moved together like they were made for this, for each other, finding a beat that felt like it had to happen. Mine, Yunho growled against her throat, hips moving harder. Say it yours, she gasped, her body curving into his. But you're mine, too. Say it, yours. He took her mouth in a hot kiss. Only yours. Always yours. They moved through the night, needy and hungry, and finally letting themselves feel everything they'd been saying no to. By the time morning light made the sky pink and gold, they were tangled together in their bed, totally tired and totally changed. Jade drew shapes on Yunho's chest, feeling his heartbeat steady under her hand. No more separate rooms, no more space. He pressed a kiss to her hair. No more acting like I don't want you in my bed every night. Koji tilted her head up to look at him. Because I'm not going anywhere. His eyes softened, really softened, something she'd never seen before. I'm sorry for the last 3 months for making you feel not wanted when the truth was I wanted you too much. I know. She kissed him soft, but you're going to have to make it up to me. Oh, his hand slid down her back. I have some ideas about that. I'm sure you do. They spent the morning tangled together, learning each other's bodies with patience they didn't have the night before. Every touch was a find, every kiss a promise. When they finally came out, hungry and totally happy, it was almost noon. Yunho made coffee while Jade looked through the kitchen, wearing nothing but his shirt. It hung to mid-thigh on her, and every time she reached for something high, it went up risky. You're doing that on purpose, Yunho said, watching her with dark eyes. Doing what? She grabbed a box of cereal, stretching on her toes. He moved behind her, his hand on her waist, pulling her back against him. Tempting me. Is it working? Always. He pressed a kiss to her neck. But you need to eat. I didn't exactly let you rest last night. She turned in his arms, putting her hands around his neck. I wasn't complaining. No, you weren't. His smile was bad. In fact, if I remember right, you were very loud about liking it. She blushed, really blushed, and he laughed, a real laugh that changed his face. I like that sound, she said soft. What sound? You laughing. You should do it more. His look got serious. I haven't had much reason to laugh until you, well, get used to it. I plan to bug you into laughter all the time. I don't doubt it. They ate breakfast or lunch really on the balcony. The city spread out below them. Jade watched Yunho studying the man she'd married. In the daylight, relaxed and open. He looked younger, less risky, almost normal. What are you thinking? He asked. That I like this version of you. This version, the one who's not trying to be made of stone. She reached across the table, linking her fingers with his. The real you. The real me is still dangerous, Jade. Still mean when I need to be. Still part of a world that wrecks people. I know, but you're also the man who had guards follow me everywhere because you were worried. The man who showed up at that bar to protect me. The man who's looking at me right now like I'm special. You are. He brought her hand to his lips, More than you know. The next few weeks were a big reveal. Yunho didn't just let Jade into his life. He pulled her in all the way. She went to meetings with him, learned the details of his business empire, met the main people in his group, and slowly, not happy at first, they started to accept her. She was smart. They saw strategic. She saw patterns they missed, found fixes they'd not seen. And she wasn't scared of them, which got their respect more than anything. At home, they couldn't stop. Young Ho couldn't keep his hands off her, and Jade loved every minute. They'd start the day with yoga together now, which usually ended with them on the mat doing something not yoga at all. They'd shower together, eat together, fall asleep tangled in each other's arms. But Jade saw things. The way Yunho would get stiff when his phone rang, the dark looks that crossed his face when he thought she wasn't looking, the nights he'd wake with bad dreams he wouldn't talk about. She also saw that he was getting more owning, more too protective. When she wanted to go shopping, he said he had to come with her. When she met friends for lunch, he'd show up halfway, making up reasons about being nearby. When other guys looked at her too long, his hand would find her waist, his body saying mine in a way that should have bugged her, but somehow didn't. "You're being silly," she told him one evening as they got ready for yet another event. "I'm being smart. You're being jealous. I'm being protective." He fixed his cuffs. "There's a difference. Yunho, I went to the shop. A guy held the door for me. You stared at him so hard I thought he might catch fire. He was looking at you. He was being nice." His eyes stayed. Jade turned to face him, hands on her hips. "You can't scare every guy who looks at me. I'd never leave the house. I could live with that." "I couldn't." She moved to him, fixing his tie. "I love that you want to protect me, but you have to trust that I can handle myself. I did just fine before you. Before me, you weren't the wife of Seoul's strongest bad guy boss. Before me, you weren't a target." His hands found her waist. "Every enemy I have will try to use you against me. Every rival will see you as a way. I can't." He stopped, jaw tight. "Can't what?" "I can't lose you." The words came out rough. "I've lost too many people in this life. I can't lose you, too." Her heart squeezed. She held his face, making him meet her eyes. "You won't lose me. I'm not going anywhere." "You can't promise that." "Watch me." She kissed him soft. "I'm stubborn, remember. You couldn't get rid of me if you tried." He pulled her closer, putting his face in her neck. "I'm trying not to be a total boss about this. I know, and I like to try." She ran her fingers through his hair. "But you need to let me breathe a little, okay?" He nodded against her shoulder, but she could feel he didn't want to. The charity party was the first big public thing since they'd finally got together. Jade wore green like a gem, a gown that was fancy but bold, with a neck that went low and a split that went high risky. When she came down the stairs, Youngho's eyes got dark with hunger and something else. "Pride. You're amazing," he said, giving his arm. "We match." She pointed to his deep green tie. "Did you plan that?" "Maybe," he smiled. "I wanted everyone to know we belonged together." At the party, they were like a magnet. Yunho's hand never left her. Her back, her waist, her hand in his. They danced and she could feel every eye in the room on them. "They're staring," she whispered. "Let them." He pulled her closer. "Let them see that you're mine, that I'm yours, that anyone who tries to come between us will regret it. So owning, you love it." "Maybe," she grinned, "but don't let it go to your head." They were laughing when the first scream happened. Mess broke out. 3 guys with guns came through the back door and suddenly the fancy party became a fight zone. Young-ho pushed Jade behind a pillar, his own gun coming from somewhere in his perfect suit. "Stay down," he ordered, but Jade saw one of the gun guys coming from the side, his gun going up toward Yunho's open back. Without thinking, she grabbed a bubbly bottle from a nearby table and swung with all she had. The bottle broke on the guy's head. He fell. Yunho turned, eyes big with shock and mad. "I told you to stay down." He was going to shoot you. The other attackers were already being stopped by Yunho's guard team. But after, as police sounds came and guests hid in corners, Yunho grabbed Jade's arm and pulled her to the exit. In the car, quiet stretched between them like a real thing. Jade could see his jaw moving, could see his hands holding the wheel with white finger force. You could have been killed, he said finally, voice super quiet. So could you. That's not the same thing. Why not? Because you're the strong bad guy boss, and I'm just the wife. She turned to face him. We're partners. Yunho equals. When you're in danger, I'm going to protect you, just like you protect me. Partners don't risk their lives for no reason, and they don't ask their partners to just stand by and watch them die. He pulled the car over fast, turning to her with hot eyes. You don't understand. If something happened to you, if you got hurt because of me, because of my world, I couldn't live. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you fell in love with me. I didn't have a choice. His hand held her face, thumb tracing her cheek. You think I wanted this. You think I wanted to care this much, but you made it impossible not to. You walked into my life with your stubbornness and your sass and your no to being ignored, and you wrecked every wall I'd built. Good. She covered his hand with hers, because I wasn't happy being locked out. He kissed her then, needy and taking, putting every bit of fear and love into it. When they stopped, both breathing fast, his forehead pressed against hers. I love you, he said. I'm scared of it. I'm mad about it. But I love you more than I've ever loved anything. I love you, too. She traced his jaw. And I'm not going anywhere. Not even when people shoot at us. Especially not then. His smile was small but real. Though I'd like if you didn't make a habit of hitting armed guys with bottles. I'll try to hold back. Liar. They drove home slow, neither wanting to break the magic. Inside the fancy apartment, they made love with new force. A party of living, of love, of their strong bond. This time was different from the needy taking of that first night. This was respectful, full, each touch a promise. Afterward, tangled together in their bed, Yunho drew shapes on Jade's bare shoulder. I have something to tell you, he said quiet. Jade's stomach got tight. That sounds bad. There's been a power fight in the group. Some of the older families don't like our marriage. They think you're a weakness. Nice. My dad wants to make it official. Give leadership to me, with you known as my co-boss. Jade's breath stopped. That's big. It's new. A woman, from outside, sharing power in a old family like ours. He turned to face her. But you've shown yourself, and I won't lead without you. Some people will never accept it. I know, which is why we need to be stronger together than they are apart. His eyes looked in hers. Are you sure you want this? It's not too late to walk away. I can set for you to leave to be safe. Stop. She pressed her fingers to his lips. I'm not leaving. I'm not running. I'm standing beside you, facing whatever comes. She smiled. Besides, I think I'd make a great bad guy queen. You already are one. He kissed her soft. My queen, my equal, my everything. So dramatic. You love it. I really do. The event was held at the family place 2 weeks later. Every big player in Seoul's hidden world was there, looking, judging, figuring. Jade wore old Korean clothes mixed with her own way, a mix that showed just what she and Yunho were building together. When the older SEO put his ring on her finger, officially knowing her spot next to Youngho, the room broke into clapping. Not everyone was happy. She could see the no on some faces, but she met every look steady. Yunho's hand in hers. That night, back in their fancy apartment, Yunho carried her over the door like it was their wedding night again. Ready for this adventure, Mrs. S? Ready for anything, Mr. S? She pulled him down for a kiss. As long as it's with you. They made love slow, enjoying each touch, each whispered promise. The rush of their early days had turned into something deeper, more big. They knew each other's bodies, close now, could read every breath and sigh. 2 months later, Jade woke feeling sick. She barely made it to the bathroom before throwing up her dinner from the night before. Yunho showed in the door, worry on his face. You okay? Fine. She rinsed her mouth. Must have been something I ate. But when it happened again the next morning, and the morning after that, worry turned to guess. Jade stared at herself in the mirror, her hand going to her still flat belly. No, it couldn't be. But the tests she took that afternoon said yes. 3 tests, really, because she couldn't believe the first 2. Pregnant. She was pregnant. Jade sat on the bathroom floor, tests around her, trying to think a baby. Yunho's baby. She pressed her hand to her belly. wondering inside her. She found Yunho in his office staring at his computer with not focused eyes. He looked up when she came in, and whatever he saw on her face made him stand right away. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I mean, nothing's bad. She took a breath. I'm pregnant. The words stayed between them. Yunho stared at her, looked not readable, and for a bad moment, she thought he might be mad. But then, his face changed, shock to wonder, to something that looked like joy. You're where? He crossed to her in 3 steps, his hands on her face. You're sure? 3 tests. Sure. 3. He laughed, the sound surprised and real. We're having a baby. Are you happy? She looked at his face. I know we didn't plan this. I know it's fast. Happy doesn't even start to cover it. He kissed her deep and full. Scared? Yes. Overfull? Yes. But happy. Jade, you've given me everything. A real marriage, love, and now this. His hand joined hers on her belly. This is more than I ever dreamed possible. She felt tears in her eyes. We're going to be parents. You're going to be an amazing mom, and you'll be a too protective bad dream of a dad. Yes, he grinned. Our child is going to hate me by the time they're 13. Probably. She laughed through her tears. But they'll love you, too. He pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was special and breakable. I love you so much. Both of you. We love you, too. The pregnancy changed things. Yunho, who had already been too protective, became not possible. He didn't want Jade doing anything that might be a bit risky, which in his mind included basically everything. I'm pregnant, not made of glass, she snapped one morning when he tried to carry her down the stairs. You could fall. I've been walking downstairs my whole life without problem, but now you're carrying our child. I'm not taking chances. Yunho, I love you, but if you don't let me walk down these stairs myself, I'm going to push you down them. He backed off, but she could see the worry in his eyes. It was almost sweet. Almost the yoga went on, changed for pregnancy. Yunho watched like a bird, ready to help at the smallest sign of heart. When she bent into child pose, he'd really fix her spot, fussing like a mom chicken. You're cute when you're too protective, she told him. I'm scary. Sure you are. She patted his cheek. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Business went on as usual. Despite Yunho's no, Jade went to meetings, made choices, handled talks. Being pregnant didn't make her less able, and she wasn't about to let anyone, including her hubby, treat her like she was. When a rival family tried to give a low offer on a deal, Jade leaned back in her chair, hand on her hardly there baby bump, and smiled sweet. Guys, I'm pregnant, not dumb. Try again with an offer that doesn't insult my smart and my weight. Yunho looked like he might kiss her right there in the meeting room. They agreed on safety. Jade said yes to always have guards with her, and Yunho said yes to stop tracking her every move. Mostly, she still caught him checking with his guard team more than needed. You're not possible, she told him one evening. I'm caring. He pulled her onto his lap, his hand across her growing belly. In you, in this, in our family. I know, she kissed him soft. And I love you for it, even when you're being silly. I like the term right careful. Sure, let's go with that. At 5 months, Jade's bump was clear. She'd had to change her whole clothes, though she still said no to dressing like hiding. If anything, she dressed bolder, tight clothes that showed her changing body, heels that made her legs look long despite her moving balance. You're shining, Mina said when they met for lunch. Pregnancy looks good on you. I feel like a big fish, a pretty, fancy big fish. Thanks. I think. They were laughing when Jade felt it. A flutter in her belly, soft and clear. Her hand went to her bump, eyes getting big. What's wrong? Mina asked, worried. Nothing. The baby moved. I felt the baby move. She called Yunho right away, not caring he was in a meeting. The baby moved. Wait, is everything okay? Should I call the doctor? Everything's fine. More than fine. I just wanted you to know. She smiled, pressing her hand harder against her belly. Our baby is saying hi. I'm coming home. You don't have to. I'm already in the car. He made it home fast, bursting through the door like the fancy apartment was on fire. Jade was sitting on the couch, hands still on her belly, grinning. Show me, he said. I can't control when it happens. The baby moves when the baby wants to. He knelt in front of her, putting both hands on her bum. They waited, quiet and still, for what felt like forever. Then, there, a tiny flutter against his hand. Yunho's eyes got big, then shiny. That's our baby. That's our baby, she said, running her fingers through his hair. I'm going to be a dad. He pressed his forehead against her belly. God, I'm scared. Me, too. But we'll figure it out together. Together. He looked up at her, and she saw everything in his eyes. Love, fear, wonder, strong, always together. The 7th month brought problems. Jade was put on changed bed rest after a scare with her blood pressure, and Yunho became even more not possible. He worked from home, hardly leaving their bedroom, watching her like she might go away if he blinked. This is silly, Jade said, staring at the ceiling. I'm going crazy. The doctor said rest, rest, not alone, jail. She turned her head to look at him working on his laptop from the chair he'd moved next to the bed. I need to move, Yunho. I need to do something. You can read, watch, movies. I'll bring you anything you want. I want to feel like a person. She tried to sit up and he right away moved to help her. I want to walk around my own home. I want to eat at the table instead of in bed. I want okay. He held up his hands. Okay, you're right. Let's get you up. He helped her to her feet, holding her as she found balance. Her belly was huge now, and everything felt weird and hard to handle. But standing felt good. Moving felt better. They walked slow through the fancy apartment, Yunho's arm around her waist. When they reached the living room, sight of so many early morning yoga times, Jade smiled. Remember when I used to do yoga here just to drive you nuts? You mean 4 days ago? She laughed. Fair point. But remember those first few weeks when you'd watch from the stairs and act like you weren't? I wasn't acting anything. I was openly staring and hating myself for it. And now I'd watch you every morning for the rest of my life and never get tired of it. He led her to the couch, sitting next to her. You walked into my life like a storm. Jade, wrecked everything I thought I knew about myself. And I've never been happier. Even with the no-sleep nights ahead, the diapers, the crying, especially with all that. He put his hand on her belly, feeling their baby kick. This is real. We're real. After years of living in dark, doing things I'm not proud of, you gave me something worth protecting, worth living for. She linked her fingers with his. You gave me that, too. I thought being forced into this marriage was the worst thing that could happen to me, but it turned out to be the best. We should tell people that story at parties. How did you two meet? Oh, my dad sold me to save his money owed, and my hubby hated me right away. But then I did yoga in my underwear and everything worked out. Jade laughed hard. That's bad, but true. Fair. At 8 months, they held a small get-together at the fancy apartment. Close friends and key family. Jade wore a loose dress that fit her bump, her natural shine making makeup almost not needed. She was talking with Mina when she saw a new face in the crowd. A young guy, handsome, watching her with open interest. Her gut tingled. Who's that? She whispered to Mina. No idea. Maybe one of Yunho's business guys. But something felt wrong. The way he looked at her wasn't work or nice. It was checking, figuring. Jade made her way over to Yunho, who was deep in talk with his number 2. He right away wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her close. Tired? He asked, quiet. Who's the guy by the window? Dark suit watching us. Yunho's looked at Enchinch, but she felt him get stiff. I don't know, but I'm about to find out, he said. Bye, and crossed the room with Hunter Grace. Jade watched as he went to the stranger, saw the short talk, saw Yunho's look go cold. Guards came from nowhere, taking the guy out. When Yunho came back, his jaw was tight. He was from the Choi family, sent to check our stuff. By stuff, you mean me, the pregnant outsider who has no place in your world. He said that much before I had him taken out. His hand found her belly protective. I won't take disrespect, not to you, and not to our child. I can handle a few bad looks, Yunho. You shouldn't have to. He pulled her closer. You're the strongest person I know, Jade, but you're also pregnant with our child. And I'll be darned if I let anyone make you feel less than you are. She softened. pressing a kiss to his jaw. My too protective hubby, always. The party went on, but Jade saw how Yunho kept her close the rest of the evening. His hands stayed on her back, her waist always touching, always knowing. And when she finally said she was tired, he cleared the fancy apartment with hard speed. "Thank you," she said, as he helped her into bed. "For what?" "For defending me, for protecting us, for being just who you are." She pulled him down for a kiss. "I love you, even when you're being not possible. Especially then," he whispered against her lips. At 38 weeks, Jade woke in the middle of the night to a sharp pain across her belly. She lay still, breathing through it, hoping it was just fake pains. Then, her water broke. "Youngho," she shook him awake. "Yunho, it's time." He went from asleep to wide awake in seconds. Time. As in, the baby is coming now. If she thought he was too protective before, it was nothing compared to the organized mess that followed. He had her bag packed for weeks in hand right away. He called their doctor, their guard team, probably half of Seoul. He helped her dress with shaking hands, kissing her forehead over and over. "You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I've got you." "I know." She held his hand as another pain hit. "But maybe drive a little faster." The hospital room was private, fancy, just what she'd expect for the wife of a bad guy boss. But Jade hardly saw the nice stuff as labor went on. All she knew was pain and Youngho's hand in hers, and his voice saying good words. "You're amazing. You're so strong. I love you so much." "I'm going to break your hand," she gasped. "Break both of them. I don't care. Just keep breathing." Hours passed, or maybe minutes. She couldn't tell. Time meant nothing, counted only in pains and rest times that were never long enough. And then, finally, the doctor was telling her to push. "You can do this," Yunho whispered, his forehead on hers. "You can do anything." She pushed, using strength she didn't know she had. Once, twice, 3 times, and then a cry, sharp and mad and totally perfect. "It's a girl," the doctor said, putting the tiny, moving baby on Jade's chest. Jade looked down at her daughter, their daughter, and felt her whole world change. She was perfect, tiny and screaming, and totally perfect with a head full of dark hair and skin that was a nice mix of both parents. "Oh my God," she breathed. "Yunho, look at her." Yunho was staring at their daughter with a look of total wonder. His hand reached out careful, touching her tiny fist. The baby right away grabbed his finger, her crying calming a bit. "She's perfect," he said, voice rough. "You're both perfect." They let him cut the cord, and then the nurses took the baby to clean her and check her. Jade watched with tired eyes as Yunho followed them like a shadow, not letting his daughter out of sight. When they brought her back, wrapped in a soft blanket, Yunho sat in the chair next to Jade's bed, holding their daughter like she was made of glass. "Hi," he whispered to her. "I'm your dad, and I promise you, I'm going to protect you and love you every single day of your life. You and your mom, you're my whole world now." The baby yawned, her tiny hand reaching up towards face. Jade felt tears go down her face as she watched them, her hubby and her daughter, her family. "What should we name her?" Yunho asked, soft. They'd had lists, ideas from family, old names, and new ones. But looking at her daughter now, Jade knew. "Mina, after my mom." Youngho looked up, eyes bright. "Mina Seo, it's perfect. She's perfect. She is." He stood careful, putting Mina in Jade's arms, just like her mom. Jade held her daughter, breathing in that new baby smell, feeling the weight of her in her arms. This tiny person who was half her, half Yunho, and totally their own wonder. "We made this," she whispered. "We made this." Yunho sat on the edge of the bed, his arm around Jade, both looking down at their daughter. "I never thought I'd have this. A family, love, something real to protect instead of just business and land. And now I have everything." He kissed Jade's side head. "Everything that matters." They brought Mina home 3 days later to a fancy apartment that had been totally changed. The baby room was a masterwork, soft colors, the best stuff money could buy, enough toys and clothes to fit 10 babies. "You went a little too much," Jade said. looking around in surprise. I wanted her to have everything. She has us. That's everything. Mina was a good baby, as babies go. She ate and slept and cried, but nothing they couldn't handle. What surprised Jade was how easy Yunho took to being a dad. He changed diapers without whine, walked the floors at 3 o'clock in the morning, singing Korean sleep songs, stared at Mina with such total love it made Jade's heart hurt. "You're a natural," she told him one night, watching him rock their daughter back to sleep. "I'm scared every second that I'll break her." "You won't. You're gentle with her. With you both." He looked up, meeting her eyes. "You've changed me, Jade. Made me into someone I actually like being. You did that yourself. I just loved you while you figured it out." 6 weeks after birth, the doctor said yes for normal stuff. She started doing yoga again, changed, careful, but still moving her body in ways she'd missed. Young-ho watched from the bedroom door, Mina, asleep in his arms. "Missed this?" he asked. "I missed feeling like myself." She moved into warrior pose. "I missed my body being mine. You're beautiful." He moved closer. "You were beautiful before, during, and after. Every version of you. Even when I was huge and grumpy and threatened to kill you for breathing too loud. Especially then." He smiled. "Though I did take the death threat serious." She laughed, leaving her pose to kiss him. Mina moved between them, making soft baby sounds, and they both froze. "Please don't wake up," Yunho whispered. "We just got you to sleep." But Mina's eyes opened, focusing on her parents with that strong new baby stare, and then she smiled. A real smile. "Did you see that?" Jade gasped. "She smiled at us. She's smart. Clearly takes after her mom and her dad." Jade touched Mina's tiny hand. "She has your strong. I can already tell. God help us all." They sat on the bed together, Mina between them, just watching her be. It was perfect, quiet and homey, and nothing like what Jade had thought when she'd been forced into this marriage. But it was real, and it was theirs. 3 months after Mina's birth, Young-ho came home with flowers and a look that made Jade suspicious. "What did you do?" she asked. "Why do you think I did something?" "Because you have that look. The one that says you're about to ask for sorry instead of okay." He looked a bit bad. "I may have bought a house." "You what?" "A house outside the city. Big yard, lots of space, safety but also private. Somewhere Mina can grow up without glass and metal around." Jade stared at him. "You bought a house. I wanted to surprise you." "Well done." She took the flowers, shaking her head. "Can I at least see it before we move?" "Of course. I'm not totally nuts." He pulled her close. "I just want our daughter to have a kid time. Grass to play on, trees to climb, a swing set." "You're already planning a swing set." "I'm planning everything." His hand found the small of her back. "I want to give you both the world. We just want you." She kissed him soft. "But yes, show me this house. If it has a good yoga space, I might forgive you for big buys without asking me. It has a whole room with mirrors and bars and everything. You're forgiven." The house was perfect. Modern but warm, big but cozy, just what they didn't know they needed. They moved in over the next month, turning the fancy apartment into their city spot while making the house their real home. Mina did great there. She grew from a tiny new baby into a chubby, happy baby who laughed at everything and clearly had both parents around her tiny finger. "She's going to be trouble," Jade said one afternoon, watching Yunho play with their daughter on the living room floor. "Takes after her mom and her dad." She sat next to them. "Remember when you told me you'd ruin me for other guys?" "I remember saying that." "Yes, you were right." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "You totally ruined me, made me fall in love with you, gave me a family, showed me what it means to be really seen and valued." "Good." He kissed her side head. "Because you ruined me right back, made me feel, made me want things I never thought I could have, made me human instead of just a weapon. We ruined each other. Best choice we ever made." Mina made a happy sound her yes, and they both laughed. A year into Mina's life, Jade stood in their backyard, watching Yunho push their daughter on the swing he'd built. Mina's happy screams filled the air, and Yunho was laughing, looking younger and lighter than she'd ever seen him. This was what they'd built. Not just a marriage or a business team, but a life, a family, Something real and messy and totally perfect. Higher, Daddy, Mina yelled. Any higher and you'll fly away, Yunho said back. But he pushed a little harder anyway. Jade pulled out her phone, taking a picture. This moment, she wanted to remember forever. Her risky hubby turned into a loving dad. Her forced marriage turned into a love story. Her jail turned into her home. Mama, Mina called out. Come swing. There's only one swing, baby. Daddy will share. Yunho's eyes met Jade's across the yard, and the heat in them made her breath stop. Even after everything, the marriage, the pregnancy, the no-sleep nights with a new baby, he still looked at her like he wanted to eat her. Later, he mouthed after bedtime. She smiled, promise in her eyes. Later, because this was their life now. Days full of laughter and family, nights full of fire and whispered promises. The dark of Youngho's world still was there. It always would, but they'd found light together. Built something that couldn't be wrecked by outside stuff because it was made in fire and sealed with love. That evening, after Mina was asleep and the house was quiet, Yunho found Jade in their bedroom, standing by the window, looking out at the city lights far away. Penny for your thoughts, he asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Just thinking about how far we've come. 1 year ago, I hated you. The feeling was the same. And now, she turned in his arms. Now I can't think my life without you. He held her face. You're everything, Jade. My wife, my partner, my best friend, the mom of my child. You took a cold, empty life and filled it with warmth and meaning. You did the same for me. She traced his jaw. I thought being forced into this marriage was a death thing. Turns out it was a start. He kissed her, slow and deep and full. I love you. I love you, too. She pulled him toward the bed. Now stop being soft and remind me why I married you. I thought you married me because your dad sold you. That was the paper reason. She pulled his shirt over his head. But I stayed because you're great in bed. Just great. He grinned bad, backing her toward the bed. Sometimes okay. He lifted her easy, laying her down. I'm going to make you take that back. Promises, promises. They came together with the easy way of lovers who knew each other close, but also with the spark of that first needy night. The fire between them hadn't gone down. If anything, it had grown deeper, richer, with love and trust and team. Afterward, tangled together in their bed, Yunho traced lazy shapes on Jade's bare shoulder. No regrets, he asked. Only that it took us 3 months to figure out we belonged together. We were stubborn. We still are. She smiled. But at least now we're stubborn together. Together. He pulled her closer. Always together. And as they went to sleep, Jade thought about the girl who'd been sold into marriage. Scared and mad and set not to break. That girl would be shocked to see where she'd ended up. Loved, cared for, with a family and a meaning, and a man who'd walk through fire for her. But she'd also be proud because Jade hadn't just lived through being forced into this marriage. She'd won it, changed it, made it into something pretty. And she'd done it while wearing short dresses and doing yoga in her underwear. Because if there was one thing Jade Seo knew, it was that you could be strong and flirty at the same time. You could ask for respect while making your hubby lose his mind with want. You could be a mom and a wife and a force all at once. She'd shown that strength came in many ways, and love, real love, could grow even in the darkest spots. All it took was stubbornness, sass, and a want to lick your hubby's thumb while he held a gun to your back. Everything else was just details. But life, Jade had learned, never stayed simple for long. Mina was 18 months old when the threat started again. No name messages, photos of their daughter at the playground, cars that followed a little too close. Yunho's group was growing, which meant new enemies and old rivals seeing chances. We need to talk, Yunho said one evening after Mina was in bed. Jade looked up from her book right away, seeing the stress in his shoulders. How bad? The Park family is making moves. They see Mina as a way. His jaw tight. They've been watching our home. Then we handle it. She set her book aside like we always do. Jade, this is different. They're threatening our daughter. I know. She stood, moving to him, which is why we need to be smart. Plan? What are you thinking? He pulled her close, his chin on top of her head. I'm thinking I should send you both away, somewhere safe, somewhere they can't find you. No way, Yunho, no. She pulled back to look at him. We don't run. We don't hide. We face this together, as a family. That's what we do. Even when it puts Mina in danger. Especially then, because if we show weakness now, every family will try the same. But if we stand strong, if we show that threatening our daughter brings bad on their heads. She let the meanings stay. Yunho stared at her for a long moment, then smiled. That scary smile that still made her heart race. When did you become more mean than me? I learned from the best. She kissed him. So, what's the plan? They spent the next week getting ready, increased safety, planned meetings with families, and a very public show at a charity event where both Jade and Mina would be seen, protected, and totally not bothered by threats. The message was clear. We're not scared of you. The night of the event, Jade wore red, a power color, a warning. Yunho was in all black, looking every bit the risky boss he was. And Mina, dressed in a little white dress with her hair in tails, was totally cute and no idea about the stress. Ready? Yunho asked as they got ready to leave. Always. Jade fixed Mina on her hip. Right, baby, we're going to show everyone how strong our family is. Strong, Mina said again, flexing her tiny arms. They both laughed, the stress breaking a bit. At the event, they were like a magnet. Every eye turned to them as they came in. The bad guy boss, his fierce wife, and their pretty daughter. Jade held her head high, smiling, nice, while Yunho's hands stayed owning on her back. When they met the Park family's guy, the air got cold clear. Yunho, Mrs. Essio. The man nodded, his eyes staying on Mina. Pretty family you have. We think so. Yunho's voice was cold. It would be bad if anyone tried to harm that pretty. Of course, though bad things do happen. Jade moved Mina to her other hip, meeting the man's eyes straight. Not to our family. They don't. We're very careful about stopping bad things and very full about checking them when they happen. She smiled sweet. I'm sure you understand. The man got pale a bit, reading the threat clear. Perfect. As he walked away, Yunho pressed the kiss to Jade's side head. Scary and pretty. My fave mix. I learned from watching you scare people. She fixed Mina's dress, though I think I'm making my own way. You definitely are. The rest of the evening went without problem. They made their say, showed their strength, and went home with Mina falling asleep in the car. Think it worked? Jade asked as Yunho carried their daughter inside. I think they'd be dumb to try anything after tonight. He laid Mina soft in her bed, smoothing her hair back. But we'll stay watch. Always do. Back in their bedroom, the rush of the evening turned into something else. Yunho pulled Jade against him, his hand on her waist. You were amazing tonight. So were you. She traced his jaw. Though I have to say, there's something hot about watching you threaten people while holding our daughter. That's a very specific like, Mrs. Essio. I have many likes. You should know that by now. His laugh was dark and promising. Oh, I do. And I plan to spend the rest of the night checking them. Bold talk. She walked her fingers up his chest. Can you do it? He answered by lifting her, carrying her to their bed, and going to remind her just why she'd fallen in love with him in the first place. 2 years later, Mina had a baby brother. Jade had been working in her home office when her water broke, much calmer than the first time. She just called Yunho, who was in a meeting in the city. The baby's coming. I'm on my way. Don't move. Don't do anything. I'm Yunho. Breathe. I'm fine. It's early labor. You have time. I'm still on my way. He made it home fast, finding Jade calm, packing her hospital bag while Mina watched cartoons. No idea about the coming of her sibling. You're too calm, Yunho said, looking messed. One of us has to be. She kissed him. Call your mom to come get Mina. Then we can go. This birth was different, faster, somehow easier, though still strong, and when their son was born, screaming mad at the world, Jade felt that same big rush of love. He's perfect, she breathed, holding him against her chest. Yunho stared at his son with the same wonder he'd shown with Mina. He has your nose and your frown. Look at that face. He's already judging us. Takes after his mom. Takes after both of us. They named him Jay. and he made their family full in ways Jade hadn't known were missing. Mina was crazy about her baby brother, always wanting to hold him, help with him, be near him. Gentle, Jade reminded her for the 100th time as Mina petted Jay's head like he was a puppy. I'm being gentle, Mama. Mina looked hurt. He's my baby, our baby, Yunho fixed, picking Mina up with his free arm while still holding Jay in the other. Our whole family. Watching him with both kids, Jade felt her heart might burst. This man who'd once been so cold, so controlled, so set not to feel anything, was now the most loving dad she'd ever seen. What? He asked, catching her staring. Nothing. Just liking my hubby handling our kids. I'm very good. Among other things, she moved closer, kissing him soft. I love you. I love you more. Not possible. Want to bet? Mina made a yuck sound. Mom and Daddy are being gross again. They both laughed, and Jade thought about how far they'd come. From enemies who could hardly be in the same room to this, a family filled with kids and love and the pretty mess of daily life. 3 years after Jay's birth, on a quiet evening with both kids finally asleep, Jade found Yunho on their balcony staring out at the stars. Penny, for your thoughts. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. Just thinking about how lucky I am. He turned in her arms. 5 years ago, I was going through stuff, building a group I didn't care about, living a life that meant nothing. And then your dad made me an offer I couldn't say no to marry his hard daughter, to marry the woman who would change everything. He held her face. You know the funny part. I said yes to the marriage thinking it would be a load, a job I'd have to handle. Instead, you became my everything. Smooth talker. It's true. He kissed her soft. You made me want to be better, made me believe I could be more than just what I was born into. And then you gave me Mina and Jay. And suddenly I had reasons to build a different kind of leave behind. What kind of leave behind? One they can be proud of. One that's not just built on fear and fight, but on real do. You were right back at the start. We can change the rules instead of just playing by them. Jade's throat got tight with feeling. You're already changing them. The real businesses you've built, the teams you've made, the way you're changing everything. It's working. We're working. He said the we. I couldn't do any of this without you. Partners always. He pulled her closer, his hand at her waist. Though I have to say, I missed the days when I could have you all to myself. When we could do stuff sudden. We have 2 small kids. Sudden is a far memory. But she smiled, her hand sliding up his chest. Though they are asleep right now. Are you saying something, Mrs. S? Maybe. She bit her lower lip. Unless you're too tired. His eyes got dark right away. Never too tired for you. He showed it full, taking her right there on the balcony under the stars, careful to be quiet, but no less fire. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, Jade thought on how their spark had never gone. If anything, it had deepened, becoming something richer and more mixed. We should go inside, Yunho whispered against her hair, before one of the kids wakes up and gets bad memory. Probably wise, but neither moved for a long moment, happy to stay tangled together. The city lights spread below them like thrown diamonds. When Mina turned 5, she started asking questions. Mama, why do you and Daddy have so many people who work for you? Jade looked up from helping Jay with his puzzle. What do you mean, baby? The men in suits, they're always around. At the park, at my school, everywhere. Mina tilted her head. So much like Yunho, it was surprising. Are they bodyguards? Jade met Yunho's eyes across the room. They'd known this talk was coming someday. Yes, Yunho said, putting aside his tablet and moving to sit with Mina. They keep our family safe. Safe from what? From people who might want to hurt us because of Daddy's work. What work does Daddy do? It was the question they'd been scared of, and getting ready for the same. I run businesses, Youngho said, careful. Some people don't always agree with how I do things, so we have safety to make sure everyone stays safe. Like superheroes, something like that. Mina seemed okay with this answer, going back to her coloring. But Jade knew it was just the start. As the kids grew older, the questions would get harder, the truths more hard to say. That night, after both kids were asleep, she and Yunho talked about it. How much do we tell them? Jade asked. When do we tell them the truth? Someday, Yunho ran his hands through his hair. But age right. They don't need to know everything right now. They just need to know they're safe and loved. And when they're older, we tell them everything about the group, about the choices I've made, about the world they're growing up in. He looked at her, and then we let them choose their own path. No forcing them into this life like I was forced. You'd let them walk away. I'd support whatever they chose. His voice was firm. I want better for them than I had. I want them to have real choices. Jade took his hand. They're lucky to have you as a dad. They're lucky to have us as parents. He fixed, we're a team. Remember, best team there is. When Mina turned 7 and Jay was 4, they made a choice. It was time to step back a bit from the daily run. Not stop. Yunho would never fully stop, but give more to others. Trust the people they'd put in place over the years to handle things. I want to be there, Yunho said to his close group. My kids are only young once. I'm not missing it. There was some no, but Jade stood next to him. Her being and power now not questioned after years of showing herself. Together, they changed everything to allow for more family time while keeping control. It meant more mornings watching Mina get the school bus, more afternoons playing with Jay in the backyard, more family dinners without phones or business breaking in, and Jade loved every second. One Saturday morning, she came downstairs to find Yunho in the kitchen, with both kids trying to make pancakes. The kitchen was a mess, flour everywhere, chocolate bits across the counter. Jay covered in mix. We're making breakfast, Mina said proud. I see that. Jade held back a smile. And how's it going? Daddy can't flip pancakes, Jay said serious. They keep breaking. Traitor, Yunho muttered, but he was smiling. I'm doing my best. Your best is bad, Mina said with the mean truth of kids. Mama, you should help. So Jade did, bumping Yunho away from the stove and showing the kids how to flip pancakes right. They made a big stack together, laughing when Jay said to put chocolate bits in every one. Later, eating a bit burnt pancakes in syrup, Yunho leaned over and whispered in Jade's ear, "This is perfect. Burnt pancakes are perfect. This, all of it, our family, our life." He kissed her side head. I never knew I could have this. Never even dreamed it was possible. Me neither. She squeezed his hand under the table, but we built it together. Together, he agreed. As the years kept going, their love didn't get less or turned into comfy habit. It changed. Some mornings, Jade would catch Yunho watching her with the same hungry strong from those early days. Some nights, after the kids were asleep, they'd fall into each other with the same needy fire that had marked their start. But there were also quiet moments, comfy quiets, the easy close of two people who knew each other fully. On their 10-year day, Yunho took Jade back to the lookout, where they had had so many big talks. The kids were with his mom, giving them a rare evening alone. "Remember the first time I brought you here?" he asked, pulling her close. "How could I forget? You kissed me after saying you hated me." "I never really hated you." "I know," she smiled. "You hated that you wanted me." Big difference. Huge difference. He turned her to face him, his hands on her face. "I've spent 10 years as your hubby. 10 years of waking up next to you, watching you be an amazing mom, building a group together. And I can say true, I love you more now than I did on our wedding day." "Well, on our wedding day, you were pretty sure you didn't like me, so that's not a high bar." He laughed. "Fair point. Let me say again, I love you more now than I did the night everything changed between us. The night you licked my thumb and broke every wall I'd built." "Better," she traced his jaw. "And for the record, I love you more, too. You're not the cold, far man I married. You're warm and full of fire and the best dad our kids could ask for. Our kids who are right now probably driving my mom nuts." "Probably," she grinned. "Should we head back in a minute?" He pulled out a small box from his pocket. "I have something for you first. Yunho, we said no pricey gifts. Open it." Inside was a necklace, thin and pretty, with a hang that held 2 small stones, one green like a gem, one deep red. "Mina and Jay's birthstones." He said, "I wanted you to have something that showed our family, everything we've built together." Tears came to her eyes. "It's perfect." He put it around her neck, his fingers staying on her skin. You're perfect, and I plan to spend the next 10 years showing how much I like you. Only 10 years. Fine. The rest of our lives. Better. They kissed under the stars. The city lights spread below them, the same view they'd had so many times before. But everything was different now. They were different, changed by love and time, and the family they'd built together, ready to go home. Yunho asked someday. Always. She linked her fingers with his. Though we should probably stop by the store first. Your mom texted. Seems Jay got her to let him build a fort, and now he's saying no to coming out. Yenho groaned. He gets that stubborn from you. From both of us. She fixed. We're both to blame for making those little monsters. True, he pulled her toward the car, but there are little monsters. Best monsters there are. Driving home, Jade thought about the girl who'd been forced into this marriage 10 years ago. Scared and mad and sure her life was over. That girl would never believe where she'd end up, married to a man she loved a lot with 2 pretty kids and a life that was messy and risky and totally perfect, but she'd also be proud because that girl had said no to breaking, had fought and planned and tempted her way into her hubby's heart, had turned a jail into a palace and an enemy into a soulmate. All it took was stubbornness, sass, and a want to lick your hubby's thumb while he held a gun to your back. Everything else, the love, the family, the group, that was just the pretty messy result of 2 people choosing to pick each other every single day. And Jade Essio, former caught bride turned bad guy queen, wouldn't change a single moment of it, even the burnt pancakes.